It's 6 o'clock. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Coming up tonight on Newsnight, 3 out of the 9 key concerns raised by teacher unions resolved by the National Labour Commission, but the teachers remain on strike, insisting they will only go back to the classrooms when all negotiations are concluded.
3 of them has been dealt with right here now. 6 of them has been referred for negotiation beginning tomorrow. The Labour Commission also directed that we call off the strike. Our response is that the unions have its own internal procedures that it goes through to call a strike and to call off a strike.
We'll get to hear from the Education Minister, who says the ministry is set to meet the teacher unions tomorrow to continue with the negotiations.
That the Ministry of Education, Labour should convene a meeting immediately to begin negotiations. We are therefore meeting at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Also tonight, Minority in Parliament demands full-scale parliamentary probe into the budget and expenditure of the just-ended African Games, as they say there was no value for money.
We, the NDC Minority Caucus, call for a bipartisan parliamentary probe into the budget and expenditure for the preparation and organization of the Games.
And we have details of that. Plus, the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly to prosecute offenders of open defecation and garbage dumping near the Independence Square. More as it rolls out more preventive measures in response to revelations in our series Filth Exhibition.
Many people have been doing that.
Why were you defecating?
Defecating here, if you are defecating here, those who are living around here, they will not call it to be a crime because it's a lowland.
And in business, government targets more than $1 billion in donor support before the end of this year, as Finance Ministry expect that will help support the Bank of Ghana's operations as well as build up more reserves for the Ghana city.
And in sports, the Black Stars held to a 2-2 draw by Uganda to extend the team's winless streak in 2024.
And then later we are live in the Ashanti regional capital, where participants at the Star Ghana Joy News Ghana Connect Town Hall have been laying out the case why political party manifestos must be responsive to their real needs.
Let's fashion out a regulation or an act whereby the political parties will be pinned to it. China Fankula ni BBI, Yankula ni Moshe, Piani Munsimdi Omonsaye.
We have details plus hear from experts who are worried about the culture of successive governments abandoning uncompleted projects. My name is Mensah.
I am Emefa, Apawu, and we're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. A number of affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. You can join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp. It's 055 1111 997.
And we start tonight with the ongoing strike by all teacher unions in the pre-tertiary sector. And we're learning tonight that the National Labour Commission has partly resolved the concerns of 3 teacher unions after a long hour of negotiation.
Well, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana, declared a nationwide action last week, calling on government to, among other things, provide better conditions of service for them, also provide their laptops, which they say deductions have been done. After long hours of negotiation with the National Labour Commission, the unions say 3 out of the issues, including the salaries of some teachers which have been blocked by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, have been resolved. Well, we can hear the president of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers and spokesperson for the 3 teacher unions, Kin Ali Awudu, addressing members after the meeting with the NLC.
3 of them has been dealt with right here now. 6 of them has been referred for negotiation beginning tomorrow. Those that were dealt here right here now. 1, the laptop. We have agreed that at the end of the month of June this year, every teacher should receive the laptop. Now, there has been so many deadlines that has been given, but none of those deadlines resulted in a strike or came to the Labour Commission. This is a rule of the Labour Commission. If they don't do it, we are going to take a much bigger action than this. The next one is about our scheme of service. GES do not have a scheme of service. So how a headmaster is appointed, how a director general is appointed, how a form master is appointed, it's not documented in any book. It has been agreed here that by the 8th of April, the Ghana Education Service should present the draft scheme of service to the teacher unions for review. The third one that was agreed here, our colleague teachers whose salary has been blocked by the Office of the Special Prosecutor without even their knowledge. The Ghana Education Service is to use 1 month to resolve all those issues.
Well, so that's Ken Ali Awudu there addressing the press after that meeting with the NLC. Well, my colleague James Aveji was at the NLC premises today and been monitoring proceedings after that meeting and joins us in studio. So we know 3 of the issues you've been talking about. At least we've had Ken Ali on there. Let's go through the remaining 6 that are yet to be resolved.
Yes, Emefa. So first is the rent allowance for teachers. They are also talking about transport allowance because some teachers in the various schools commute from one village to the other, especially those of them who are in the rural areas commute from one village to the other, and so they are asking for transport allowance for them as well. And then those teachers in the deprived areas too, they are negotiating for what they call deprived areas allowance. That was part of a promise made to them that teachers who would accept posting to the rural areas will be given some sort of allowance to boost their morale and also entice others to accept posting to these rural areas that most teachers do not want to go over the period. Others include their assessment allowance. They say sometimes when students go on vacation, they spend their vacations to be marking their exam papers and all of that, and so they are asking for allowance for all of those. And the others include the teacher development allowance. Now, when they are sometimes they needed to go to school, sometimes they go on study leave without pay, sometimes they go on pay, but they are saying that like we have in the tertiary institutions where they have book and research allowances, they want an equivalent of that called the teacher development allowance. So those are the 6 that they are looking forward to meet the Ministry of Education as well as the Fair Wages and Salaries tomorrow to continue with the negotiations on.
Okay, well, thankfully, the Minister of Education himself was at the meeting today.
Exactly.
And he's been telling you a lot more about what will happen tomorrow.
Exactly. So he was part of the first part of the meeting. And then when some consensus was reached, when the NLC gave the directive that they needed to call off the strike immediately, he took leave. But he spoke to us later and said that they are ready to meet them tomorrow, 2 p.m., to continue with that negotiation.
They have indicated that the Ministry of Education, Labour should convene a meeting immediately to begin negotiations. We are therefore meeting at 2 p.m. tomorrow at the conference hall of Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. The Commission has also directed that the labour unions should call off the strike. On this note, immediately. So on this note, I want to thank the National Labour Commission for the judgment that they've rendered.
And one would have thought that the teachers would have called off the strike after today's meeting. What
exactly.
happened?
That was a question we posed to the CCT president. He said that, for instance, he gave an adage that where you used to climb is where you used to descend as well. And so they have some modalities. That is what they will go back and look at to see whether they will call it off or not. But as it stands, they are still on strike.
The Labour Commission also directed that we call off the strike. Our response. We are going for a strike. Our response. Our response is that our response is that the unions have its own internal procedures that it goes through to call a strike and to call off a strike. So we will go through those internal procedures and inform the Labour Commission accordingly. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, the impact of the strike has been felt on the ground and in schools. The final year students about to write the BECE, that the Basic Education Certificate examinations, are now been left in the lurch. Many of them are now resorting to self-learning, especially in the Ashanti regional capital. My colleague there, Anita Sewa Ajoga, has more in the following report.
Academic activities in various basic schools have halted due to the ongoing strike by pre-tertiary teacher unions. The strike, declared by the teacher unions, is centered on grievances related to their conditions of service and other pertinent issues. Some final year students of the State Experimental Basic School lament the strike will affect their performance in their upcoming BECE.
Yes, we are going to write exams next week. But the teachers are not coming to school, so it's going to affect us. We are not going to get good grades because they are not coming to school to teach us what we are supposed to learn. And they are also telling us that the questions will be plenty. So we have to come to school by ourselves and learn by ourselves.
We have so many things to learn. We can't learn everything on our own. So if the teachers do not come, we will not be able to complete what we have to learn this term. We have heard that they are already done setting the questions, so if we are not able to complete it, we will not be able to write the exams.
I'm Kofi. There's almost teachers for no mama strike, come and students have my own strike. The more cultural government for say I can't model your mona so omunchia. Yes, I'm so mumbechia mom. Now almost omuntimbechela, the Indian team so you exams sent by it.
And the strike is affecting us much because we are not getting the time to revise with our teachers, and we are going to do a presentation because of the strike too. The teacher is not coming to school to do the presentation with us, so it's affecting us in many ways.
Some parents who were oblivious of the industrial action trooped the premises of the school to pick up the awards.
I wasn't aware. He had to call and tell me there is no teacher around. So he's just hovering around doing nothing. So basically I have to come and pick him and let him go home. They being at home will also need to get somebody who will be at home to take care of them being at home. That one too will also be a cost, because when he's in school, by the time he comes back, the mother would have been home by then. But now that look at the time now, it's almost getting to 12, and he has to go back home. There's nobody at home.
Headmaster of the school, Solomon Osei Kankam, called on the government to address pressing issues affecting teachers' ability to effectively deliver on their mandates.
As we speak, our condition of service has expired, and we are supposed to have a new one. However, per the rules and regulations, if a new one has not been prepared, it means the old one still runs. Then we also have issue with our scheme of service, the ranks that we progress from one to another.
For Joy News, Anita Sewa Ajogan reporting.
So that's the situation in the Ashanti region. We've been telling the story about what pertains in the Greater Accra region when it comes to the students and their preparation, especially for the BECE that's coming up. But thankfully, President of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana, and spokesperson for the 3 teacher unions, Ken Ali Awudu, joins us on the line. We are grateful for your time here on News 9, Ms. Awudu. So 3 out of the 9 key concerns that you have been addressed as a result of this meeting. One is wondering why you are still on strike then.
Thank you very much. Greetings to all your listeners, especially the resolute teachers out there that are rallying behind leadership. Yes, 3 of the matters have been addressed. Among those 3 are the issue of the laptop, which we have a deadline of June ending, and then the issue of the scheme of service. The Ghana Education Service is to make a draft available to the teacher unions by the 8th of April. And then the next one is the salary blockade by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, with the Ghana Education Service is to make sure it is resolved within a period of a month. Now, the major issues that are yet to be addressed, that we are commencing possibly a meeting on it from tomorrow 2 p.m., our rent allowance, our deprived area allowance, our continuous professional development allowance, utility subsidy allowance, the assessment allowance. There is a sixth one. Now, what we are seeing, and the transport or commuting allowance. What we are seeing is that, yes, the Labour Commission has made its statement. We as Labour unions always have a way of doing our things. As we indicated in the room of the National Labour Commission, we will put in motion our various council systems and then come out with a statement and revert to the National Labour Commission.
And how soon are we expecting that statement?
Very soon.
One would say that it appears that the teachers are acting in bad faith because you raised a number of concerns, and at least government or the employer has shown commitment to addressing the concerns that you have raised. At least you need to meet them halfway, don't you?
It must be put on record that the 6 issues that have not been addressed are our major things because they are the financial items. They are the things that the teachers are actually expecting because they are the items when agreed upon is going to put money in the pockets of the teachers for them to be able to put bread and butter on the table for themselves and their family. And we've been negotiating with government team for quite a long time. As they are talking about bad faith, we also equally find it very difficult to trust them.
So the issue now boils down to trust. But really, when you decide to then call off the action, because we are told tomorrow the negotiations will continue. So you're hoping that unless the negotiation is conclusive, you are not going to go back to the classroom?
Tomorrow when we go to the table, what we said at the Labour Commission was that we made a proposal to government, to the CEO of Fair Wages, who is the chief government negotiator by law. And those proposals we made, which include the state allowances that are mentioned, government must be committed and respond to them. As we speak, we don't have anything in our hand for us to stand on it and tell the members that this is what we have gotten in our hand, and for that matter, calm down, go back to work for us to go and continue APCD. There's nothing at hand. Government have not made any commitment towards the request that we are making.
Well, let me take you to where I was going with my earlier question, which is how then we're hoping to make up for the lost time, because we've been interacting with some of the children preparing for their BEC amongst others, and then
okay. For the lost time, teachers, we've always done it. For example, when the COVID came and teachers were at home for about 10 months, it was we that proposed to government that we want to work extra to make up for the time. That is why we introduced this semester system in the basic school and all that, where for about 4 or 5 months continuously, the children were in school and we were teaching them. You go to the senior high school, additional hours were added to the timetable at no additional remuneration to the teacher. We love the case, and no teacher wants his students to fail exams. So most definitely, when we go back, we teach them, and we know how we are going to handle matters to make up the lost time. That one, I promise you, we can always get it done.
And going into that meeting tomorrow and hearing you say it's a side you do not trust, how are we hoping that you get to the bottom of this particular issue?
I am making that statement because if I'm negotiating with you and I put proposal on your table, and we have sat around the table severally, and you have not been able to make any commitment on the proposal that we have made, then and you are asking me that, for now, put your gun down and come and let's talk. When still you have not made any commitment. For example, we are asking for 15% rent allowance. We are asking for about 20% deprived area allowance. Government have not even come to say that the 15% you are asking for, I can give you 0.1%. They have not come with anything. Nothing. And it is not like it is today
that we made that proposal to them. And at the time that we needed the top level that can make decisions to the table for negotiation, we weren't getting them. At this point, we have been asked that you don't worry, put everything aside and come and let's sit down and talk. We want government to make a commitment so that we can stand on that commitment and talk to the teachers that we were asking for 3. Government is saying that they can give 1. For that matter, at least we have 1 in our hand. So you go back to work. Let us go and start negotiating and see how best we can build on the 1. But you are still at 0. After these several months, you are still at 0. Something that was supposed to be concluded on the 29th of February, you are still at 0.
Maybe it's also the current economic conditions. Have you considered that as well?
That is even the more reason why it must be accepted.
Okay.
Because the current economic condition is making things difficult for we teachers to put bread and butter on the table. You get paid your salary, and the item you bought for 50 cedis last month, you get paid your salary this month, you go to the market, and the price of that same item has changed, but your salary has not changed. And we are all witnesses to it. Everything, including even electricity bills, straw fares, food items, prices keep changing day by day. Just recently, fuel prices has gone up. And everybody is increasing things at his or her own will. So this is even the more reason why they should consider those things, those allowances, and get them granted.
Well, Ken, we'll be monitoring the meeting that will be held tomorrow. And that's the president of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana, and spokesperson for the 3 teacher unions, that's NAT, NAGRAT, and then, of course, the Coalition of Concerned Teachers who are still on strike, even though 3 out of their 9 concerns they put before government has been resolved.
You're still live on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Tonight, the minority in Parliament, they are demanding a full-scale parliamentary probe into the budget and expenditure of the just-ended Africa Games. Now, government spent $245 million on the continental showpiece. But addressing journalists in Parliament, the minority spokesperson on youth and sports, Kobana Mensah, berated government for what he described as a poor organization and insists a full-scale investigation will unravel corruption and mismanagement.
And we boldly say, as a country, that we have had value for money. Amid the economic hardship, government should have been more prudent in the hosting of the 13th African Games. It is unfortunate that President Akufo-Addo attacked Ghanaians who suggested the need for Ghana to rethink our hosting of the Games due to the collapsed economy and the hardship created by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. We wish to call on the government to come out and explain to Ghanaians what accounted for all the shameful occurrences and render an unqualified apology. We, the NDC Minority Caucus, call for a bipartisan parliamentary probe into the budget and expenditure for the preparation and organization of the Games.
And that there is the ranking member on the Sports Committee in Parliament who also claims that Ghana had no value for its money spent on the Games, adding that the Games was a monumental disaster.
The just ended Games were a monumental disaster and total embarrassment to our dear country. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government spent a staggering $240 million on the just ended Games. Yet, the organization and management of the event was poor and shambolic. While the government sacrificed value for money principles and breached procurement procedures, infringed on the Public Financial Management Act, leading to huge expenditure, Ghanaians have been swayed by the frivolous outcome of the Games to believe all is well. Given the current state of the Ghanaian economy which has been rendered bankrupt by the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government, emerging details about the hefty expenditure on the games raise eyebrows and concerns among Ghanaians. Several unfortunate incidents that were recorded in the course of the games left many wondering whether that quantum of money was really spent on the games.
So that's Kobna Mensah, ranking member on the Youth and Sports Committee in Parliament. Let's bring in our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante. He was at that news conference, joins us on the line. So Kweku, does the minority provide any evidence or substance whatsoever to back these claims and the demand?
Emefa, they do not do that. In fact, that is why they say that they need a parliamentary probe to be able to settle their curiosity. They are concerned that having spent millions of Ghana cedis and millions of dollars actually in organizing the games, they were surprised that so many of the athletes, they just did not have enough kits to be able to run the game. They cited the instance of one athlete who was carried in the back of a pickup vehicle to the venue for the competition. They say that these are all reasons for which reason there must be a parliamentary probe to settle all the issues surrounding the budget and the expenditure of the LOC.
Despite the millions of dollars of taxpayers' money voted for the 13th African Games, it was shocking to hear some of our athletes complain about how they were neglected. Some had to provide for their own personal kits and equipment, resulting in some of them wearing inappropriate outfits in the course of their events. Much of the disbelief and dismay of many Ghanaians, it was reported that some of our athletes were conveyed to the games grounds at Boteman in the trunk of an old pickup vehicle. If we ask, was there no provision for transportation for Team Ghana in all the disciplines? In addition, our national cyclist, champion Michael Naba, had to rely on his own personal bicycle, which unfortunately broke down in the middle of the cycling competition. He had no choice but to withdraw from the race. Government, the National Sports Authority, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and the local organizing committee made no efforts whatsoever to provide an immediate alternative or intervention to get him another bicycle. What happened to all the money voted for logistics and equipment?
You know what, Emefa, one of the things that we did here is cover this extensively, and we did a PM Express on this where we analyzed at the very start of this week into it. Let's bring in Fentu Tahiru Fentu, editor here with the Joy Sports team, who has been keeping a close eye on that event for his own verdict on this, and we'll also interrogate the position of the minority on this particular subject. Fentu, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So the verdict from the minority side on the Sports Committee in Parliament is that this was a monumental disaster. You followed this very closely. You are almost every game. Is that your appreciation of it too?
Well, I think a monumental disaster certainly would be maybe perhaps slightly exaggerating the situation. But there were problems, very well documented problems regarding these games, and they started way before the games. And we at Joy Sports have been highlighting these issues to the extent that we were almost called negative by the LOC and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And the issues that characterized the lead up to these games, it came to a climax literally in the first week of the games, where a lot of the issues that the minority are highlighting became very apparent, because we had been warning people that we were not investing a lot in the preparation of the athletes, and that the infrastructure, the delivery of the infrastructure might actually turn out to be the least of our problems. So while everybody was very focused on whether Boteman or Legon was completed, we were talking about how so many other aspects of the games, and this is a multidisciplinary games, so many other aspects of the games were not being closely looked at. And that's what we saw in the first week with the issues that the minority highlighted. Wrong equipment being delivered to athletes, like we saw in the situation with the badminton player whose shoe size were gravely overstated, brought in rackets that he had in practice before. That's what ended up with the cycling, athletes not getting the right equipment for the games. That's what ended up with all of the other issues that we encountered during the first week of the games.
But subsequently, these were addressed, were they not?
Yes. So a lot of them, for example, the issue regarding the badminton player and the basketball, being transported to the venue on the back of a pickup truck. The badminton president came out in a press conference to address that, where they said that they had to resort to that because the bus that they were using to transport the players to Portman had broken down, and they needed to take emergency measures to ensure that the players got to the venue on time. It's really hard to argue with that because they had to take their own measures, and that was the only available option for them. Then, if you look at the issue of the bicycles not being acquired for the riders, the minister said that the Cycling Federation never really presented the list of equipment that they needed because he had tasked everybody to send a request. Now, that became a big issue because the Cycling Federation themselves then released an email trail between themselves and the chef de mission, who is in charge of liaising with the federation, where they send their request to the chef de mission. So it became a little bit of a back and forth. Who's telling the truth? Who's not telling the truth? So, but these issues were there. And, I think that when you look at all of the things that we spoke about, talk about, for example, the hockey pitch, for example. The hockey competition was pushed forward twice because the hockey pitch was not ready. 10 days after the start of the African Games, we still didn't have a hockey pitch. It was still on the freight coming to Ghana. That's what forced South Africa to withdraw from the competition because they were not convinced Ghana would be able to lay that turf once they arrived in the country. It arrived in the country 2 days before the start of the hockey competition. And then, we ended up putting it together. We played that competition. Ghana won gold in the women's edition. But there were issues. For example, one of the issues regarding that hockey pitch and the delayed delivery of the hockey turf was that we ended up gravely overpaying for maybe freight, for example, because I have sources that have told me they were probably paid maybe 3 or 4 times the amount that we were supposed to pay for the freight because we were in such a hurry to get it into the country. So if anybody's asking for a probe, I certainly think that it is the call in the right direction, in that accountability is necessary. And I think the Minister, I think everybody knows that they have to account for their stewardship. And a lot of these things have to be asked. For example, if we overpaid because somebody delayed in the order of the equipment, certainly that is not efficiency. You have to do better. And it looked like, for me, one of the biggest issues we had was that we were doing a lot of the things very last minute. In fact, the opening ceremony was done with some items from the opening ceremony company, a French company that was contracted to do the opening ceremony. They still had some equipment locked up at the port while the opening ceremony was ongoing. Even at the time they were supposed to do the closing ceremony, there were still issues regarding some of the equipment being locked up at the port. So we've had a lot of these other issues that have confronted the games. In terms of what has happened in the competition, I think the second week, which was last week, was a marked improvement from what we saw in the opening week.
And your overall assessment will be what? I mean, knowing what happened in the first week and how it all ended, what will be your overall assessment of this?
I would say that I think that we were. I would give it very average marks and say that we did what we had to do, and that in the end we delivered the games. It could have been better. I don't think we did an excellent job at delivering the games, and I also feel like accountability in terms of efficient use of resources, I feel like we probably overspent in areas where we could have saved some money. So, and that would be down to maybe a lack of efficiency in dealing with, in expediting a lot of things. Other than that, I would say that we did an okay job.
Okay. Okay, Fento, thank you very much giving us your own assessment of this, considering that you were there throughout. I want to bring in quickly Kobina Mensah Woyome, who is a ranking member on the Youth, Sports and Culture Committee in Parliament. Mr. Woyome, so as far as this whole showpiece is concerned, we heard from the International Olympics Committee. They gave their own verdict on this, and a member of that representing the IOC, this International Olympics Committee, Williams Blake, said the following, and I want to quote that to you. He says, what Ghana has done as a country is really extremely commendable. Hosting of these games in this difficult time is really something that has been done in an excellent way. You say it is a monumental disaster. That contradicts what the International Olympics Committee that oversees this, ultimately, what their verdict is.
Good Emefa and your seriously. I would say, well, we are speaking from that the hope for $9 billion released.
Mr. William, unfortunately, we have a terrible connection to you. I'm going to put you on a better line so we can hear you on this as you call for this, a parliamentary probe into this. By the way, I want to hear from you. Do you support this call? 055-1111-997. That's a call coming in from Parliament, the minority side, who've done a press conference today making that demand off the back of that African Games that ended over the weekend. And we all watched what unfolded in the beginning. And we've had Fento give his assessment of the overall picture. Mr. Wilme is back on the line. Mr. Wilme, you were giving me your verdict, seeing that International Olympics Committee had given a positive pronouncement on this whole games that we organized.
Clearly, from where the point is, we have released all approved funds of money for the proposal and hosting of games. And so what we said, having a game and meeting some assurance based on that the Parliament asked, it's not what we are, not what happened. Because
and I must apologize because of that terrible connection still to Mr. Woyome. And this is a conversation that definitely we haven't had the last of. I know the ministry did a press conference on this. They have their own assessment of what has happened. The minority wants a probe into the matter in terms of how we spent, what we budgeted. That is $255 million. And this is a conversation that we would keep a close eye on. George Affe is joining me with business. But right up to George is done, they call it Clotte Municipal Assembly to prosecute offenders of open defecation and garbage dumping near Independence Square. More as it rolls out more preventive measures in response to revelations in our series Filth exhibition.
People have been doing that.
Why were you defecating?
Defecating here, if you are defecating here, those who are living around here, they will not call it to be a crime because it's a lowland.
And that, after George is done with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, government targets more than $1 billion in donor support before the end of this year. The Finance Ministry believes this will help shore up Bank of Ghana's reserves and stabilize the Ghana cedi going forward. And Finance Ministry targets reaching deal with independent power producers on debt restructuring by the end of next month. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Center Stanks, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
Hear it, the freedom in our songs, the sound of liberty that rings from Kaswa to Karaga, from Tamale to Takoradi. It's in the pestles that pound from coast to coast. It's in the busy offices, the crowded streets, and the noisy schools. It's in the wisdom of our elders and in the laughter of our children. It's in seeing how far we've come and looking at how much we can grow. It's in knowing that still Ghana go be. Happy 67th Independence Day. Ghana.
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Water is needed all day, all night. So remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough. Water is needed all day, all night. So remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough.
Things are looking up on this side.
When you upgrade to the enhanced GCB mobile app, you start doing more with ease.
Create a GCB instant account easily and conveniently with your GCB mobile app and start sending and receiving funds. All you need is your Ghana card.
Pay your bills, subscriptions, and fees to multiple merchants safe and secure.
Charlie, tap the app, open a GCB instant account, and experience the recoded vibe.
You're able to top up on all types of ECG prepaid meters with their special card readers and keep the power on. No worries, no stress.
With GCB mobile app, you can also generate prepaid and virtual cards to use on ATM machines, POS devices, and for online transactions.
Well, I pay my subscriptions and fees with my GCB mobile app conveniently.
GCB mobile app. Download now from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Upgrade your style. GCB Bank. Your bank for life.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later.
Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack?
There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government is hoping to realize more than $1 billion in donor support before the end of this year. This was disclosed by Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam during a press engagement earlier today. There is more in this report.
Government is targeting about $1.2 billion from the World Bank, IMF, and the African Development Bank by the end of 2024. These funds will come in the form of budgetary support as well as balance of payment support for the Bank of Ghana. Addressing the media today, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam noted that disbursements will cover ongoing projects and also help in stabilizing the Ghana cedi. There are some who believe that the news about the inflows could impact the local currency going forward and also facilitate the commencement of stalled projects. The Bank of Ghana puts Ghana's international reserves at more than $6 billion as of February 2024. This puts the Bank of Ghana in a strong position to support the Ghana cedi. This is why for some, why we have not seen significant intervention in the market when it comes to dollar supply still remains a puzzle.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, the country could also secure about $330 million from the IMF by June this year. That is if it's able to pass the program review that will start from April 2 to the 15th of next month, 2024. Government is confident of passing this review. The Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has revealed that the ministry will soon send a memorandum of understanding with the independent power producers to aid in the restructuring of their debts. The minister admitted the arrears are huge and the need to fast-track the negotiations. He was speaking at the Ministry of Finance's press conference on the state of the economy today.
We are almost through with our negotiations with the IPPs to restructure the arrears over several years. And as I speak to you, I believe in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be signing those agreements with the IPPs we have concluded negotiations with. We have even started showing good faith to the IPPs by making some payments that we had agreed to do with them. And this is why you do not hear the threats that you used to hear and read about from IPPs threatening to shut down.
Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. Now, Cal Bank is turning to its shareholders to raise some 600 million Ghana cedis to help in the recapitalization of the financial institution. In a circular release, the bank noted that the renounceable rights issue should commence from April 5, 2024 and should end on April 26. Proceeds from this offer will be used to support the bank's growth strategy and deliver long-term value to its shareholders. Several banks are going this route as they work to improve their capital position. Now, this is in line with proposals from the Bank of Ghana. The commercial bank should increase their capital very soon to help them poised strong and support their operations. Another new chairman of Macdon Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, is entreating women-led businesses to be bold and strategic in accessing funding to grow their business. According to him, women must not shy away from taking risks that could propel in the growth of their enterprises. He was speaking at the maiden edition of Women in Business Dialogue series.
I believe that women are the bedrock of this country. So assessing funding and pushing for things, I believe that it lies in themselves. I will urge women in this country to be able to package themselves well. If you don't package yourself well, it will be very difficult for you to assess some of these opportunities. I mean, you, as honest as women are, the bottleneck is packaging. And they have to be associating themselves to some of these networking groups to be able to have them packaged. No organization in this country will dole out money free of charge if you are not well packaged.
Dr. Daniel Macaulay is chairman of the Macdon Group. Now, Starbia has engaged local farmers in the northern part of the region in the country to produce raw materials for the brand. Now, this is part of initiatives to empower them economically to also support them in sustainable farming. Brands manager of Starbia, Papa Kweku Usojiman, noted that this is to help grow the brand in an exclusive media engagement in Accra.
Beer essentially is water, hops, and grains. So Star Beer is 70% local raw material. So 70% of our raw materials that go into the beer are sourced from Ghana. So when I say we're a Ghanaian beer, we're a Ghanaian beer. We get most of our things from here. And because of that, we even have, some concessions from the government. Instead of buying from outside, getting malts from Malta, wherever, we get it from Ghana. So that means they have, some constant source of money that can support their family and then for generations. That's a lot of beers don't do that, but we are focused on making sure that we source a lot of our things locally in Ghana. So we have a deal. There's a lot of farmers in the northern part of Ghana that the company Guinness Ghana has a corporate deal with to ensure that we support them and develop sustainable farming for our 2030 sustainability goals.
Brands manager at Starbia, Papa Kweku Owusu Ajimano, said to the stock market, if you're a shareholder of MTN Ghana today, the value was up. Actually lost 5 pesos and it's now trading at 1 Ghana cedi 60 pesos. Liver was up by 2 pesos to close at 11 Ghana cedis 85 pesos. If you have invested on the stock market on the whole from January to now, you have seen about more than 11% jump in your investments. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and Emefa.
Thank you very much, George.
Gentlemen, Telecel is here!
Telecel, connecting energies.
Great news is here. Batmat is here again. XXL clearance sale. Guaranteed savings. From now till the end of April, the big sale continues. Get discounts of up to 70% off sanitary wares, light tiles, waterproofing, and all other product families. It's the year to get things done. Visit our showroom at the North Industrial Area next to the Winners Chapel, Ghana. Don't miss out. Batmat, welcome home.
And we can do some sports now. Ms. Bao is here with the latest.
Yeah, hello, Evans. Well, let's talk about the Black Stars because they play their final international friendly in this match window against Uganda. Remember, they earlier played Nigeria where they lost by 2-1 in their second game. A lot of people were hoping that they will bounce back, but they ended up just avoiding defeat narrowly, actually, and then in a 2-2 draw. It was Ghana who scored first through Jerome Opoku, and then Jordan Ayew also scored from the penalty spot. So Uganda equalized about 50 minutes after Jerome Opoku had scored, and then Ghana went on to take the lead. But in the dying embers of the game, Uganda managed to score the second equalizer to end the game 2-2. Now, what that means is that in this March international window, Ghana was winless, and that winless streak extends because they are yet to win a game since the year 2024 began. So that's quite a very disappointing record for the Black Stars. But let's just switch to the African Games because the aftermath of that has generated some controversy, and it's the volunteers for the African Games whom we understand were in some confrontation with the police over a dispute regarding their stipend disbursement. Well, they were lodged at the University of Ghana Games Village, and we understand that were fed, housed, and those were the things that the local organizing committee promised them. But according to some of the volunteers, they were also promised some allowances, and that is yet to come, and they've been agitating, asking for the allowances to be given to them. Well, the Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports, Ivan Sopoku-Bobie, has been also responding to questions regarding when the athletes, the gold medalists who were promised $3,000, silver medalists also promised $2,000, and bronze medalists promised $1,000, when they will receive their money. That's what they had to say.
If you work in the public sector, you don't just stand up and then go and pick money. It goes through a process. I am not the approval authority, so I cannot give you a time frame. My job is to gather the list, the figures, put the figures together, and then forward same to the appropriate contest to secure approval. When I have gotten the approval, then I can be sure of telling you that today or tomorrow it will be paid. But I want to assure you and the general public and the athletes that their monies, their bonuses will be paid.
So that's Evans Opoku-Bobie over there. Well, Evans, have you heard about the story, Daniel's story? You know, he was put behind bars for some rape issues in Spain.
He's on bail now.
Yeah,
and I know the prosecutor is challenging it.
Yeah, and Memphis Depay, had to pay that. And there was some development from China. The FA president of China has been sentenced to life imprisonment for accepting some bribe. And that has also generated some conversation on many sports platforms.
Thank you, Ms. Bao. And Emefa Power, let's go to the community in which I grew up. I'm talking about Koliklote, and Adabraka is part of that. I'm very proud of that particular community. But there's something there that we'll be shining a light on. The Koliklote Municipal Assembly set to prosecute individuals engaged in open defecation and garbage dumping on a piece of land between the Independence Square and the Asumdwe Park, which is a burial site of the former president, John Evans at Tamils.
Well, in an interview with Maxwell Apogba, the Municipal Chief Executive Samuel James Ni Ajayi Tawia announced that the Assembly is collaborating with the Ghana Tourism Authority to revamp the area and put an end to this troubling practice. Well, we'll hear from the MCE shortly, but you recall that last week, Maxwell Apogba gave us the Filth Exhibition series from that area. Listen.
The Independence Square, a reminder of Ghana's freedom from her colonial masters. Right beside it is the piece of land which also serves as a reminder
to some unpatriotic citizens of their freedom. Freedom to openly defecate and dump their garbage.
Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land of freedom.
It seems the authorities have found the perfect spot for a sit-down protest against waste management. Or perhaps it is the city authorities' way of saying, Happy Independence Day, enjoy the sights and smell. Right here, we confronted a man who had just finished defecating on this hallowed ground.
So why were you defecating here?
That low land, they've been shitting there for a long time. And it was like Bola, the rubbish dam. Some people are shitting in this water.
Why were you defecating?
Defecating here, if you are defecating here, those who are living around here, they will not call it to be a crime.
Do you think it's bad, especially because this place is very close to the Independence Square? You don't think it's wrong?
I know that it's wrong, but the way it was bush, if you are here, no one will call it to be a crime. So that's why we are defecating there.
For citizens who come here, it is to celebrate our nation's freedom. But what about our freedom from this mess? Perhaps city authorities want to give tourists and patrons a 360 independence celebration after watching the display and exhibition of our culture and all that we stand for at the Black Star Square. You can come here for a part 2. This time, a filth exhibition. Chata Winfred Annan is a resident.
Where the cast Independence Square is and where they go to private, I mean, it's not good. If you look at the Asomdwe Park and where the people are going to the private, my man, the big editors should do something about it.
Let's celebrate independence in every sense of the word, from freedom to cleanliness. Join us in our mission to turn this filth exhibition into a showcase of cleanliness and pride.
And that's filth exhibition from last week. Today, Maxwell returned to the area and discovered that open defecation and garbage dumping persist without restraint. The Joy News team even confronted a man caught in the act of defecating at the VIP open defecation spot.
Hi, what's your name?
Wachi Elvis.
Wachi Elvis. Okay, tell me, why were you defecating here?
But me friend na kam kakra na me twam na nse me fa ha me se me be call private to am na ni mo ase no. Me friend na ha me na me ba private.
Well, he says he was using a stretch of road here. He had a tummy upset, and that's why he decided to come here to use this place to defecate here. But I won't say Independence Square. Ben Hanum say a ben a pap be a general war no and a ben and a moon in go say.
Me ho no me say me ho ba me twam. And then that wa catch me twam bia no bi wura me catch say ha yen ko private. Me ko cho madam.
Well, he says he's a visitor here, and that henceforth, if he sees anyone entering this place to defecate, he would let them know that they cannot defecate here at this spot. In the future, colleagues,
my catch me say has said private one to be a man who be a private and I to be private one man. They may catch and say one country independent say private to her. Now it's all my close to a gate in you who are so I bet my man watch.
Well, he says henceforth he's going to advise persons who use this place as a defecation spot to desist from that, and he's going to volunteer and start advising them himself.
Well, the Korle-Klottey Municipal Assembly has expressed concern now about the ongoing situation. The Municipal Chief Executive, Samuel James Nia-J Terrier, says that the Assembly has partnered with the Ghana Tourism Authority to enhance the development of the area. He also mentioned that the Assembly will take legal action against individuals caught engaging in open defecation.
You know, the Assembly work is not just about going around making sure people that don't openly defecate in such places. We have a lot of people, but still there are gaps in the system. And a very, very good example is the fact that the Assembly work is usually from maybe 8 to 5 or so. But then in our case, we have some extra staff that are working very early in the mornings, sometimes at dawn, especially if we've got to sanitation work. And then also after normal office hours, after in the evenings. But still, if they should leave there at 12 midnight, somebody will go there and do their business. But what I'm saying now is with the lighting system and the sort of fencing that is going to be done. And this requires a lot of resources to have it done. There will be a greater improvement to the place, so that there will be also a lot of people going to see what is there, that it will be difficult for somebody to go and squat and do their business. I believe so. Again, in collaboration with the Ghana Tourism Authority, with the support of the national security. Then you come to the hatch itself, so the hoarding around it is all, but it's a work that we are moving gradually. So very soon the whole of that enclave will be such that you can't go there and do any such thing.
And that is a very important point he's making there. If only they can enforce it, because I grew up in that area. I know how difficult it is to enforce this. I'm pretty sure you're thinking, well, did you also try? No, I didn't.
I know you never did.
No,
that.
I didn't. No, I did not.
We had a Ghana Connect today, and it's something that we'll be leaving you with, because there are interesting views about manifestos amongst others. I was hoping to hear where the next spot will be. I'm sure the election headquarters team will tell us more. Together with Star Ghana, we're doing this with them. But the gigs are here. What are we doing this evening?
So Google is the first search engine in the whole world, right? The second largest is YouTube. This evening we want to talk about starting a YouTube channel, because if you have a channel on YouTube, then you are likely to be found easily, and how you can manage it.
Okay, well, and that's how we wrap up today's edition of News Night, where we're leaving you with excerpts or sounds from the Joy News Ghana Connect Town Hall meeting in Kumasi.
In partnership with Star Ghana, who have made this possible.
Out a regulation or an act from chapter 6,
I see,
whereby the political parties will be pinned to it. If you do not do it, you will be prosecuted.
Okay.
China Fankula ni BBI, Yankula ni Mohe, Piani Munsimdi Omonsaye, Eti Yesrem for NDC ni MPP, Yesrem say, Mu manifesto na Moba Shano, Mo Fanshem, Samoso, Mo Betraining Kolano from Moma Frasi. So
there should be a policy that each government that comes should have an idea of continuity. Where the other government have stopped, they should continue, so that at least we don't waste our resources. But those who formulate the policies have a lot of sweetie packages.
Different cars take different journeys. The strong ones build big cities that people thrive in. The agile ones take us to work there, so we can make a little chop chop. The dependable ones are always present in times of trouble. We salute what you do for Mother Ghana. The traditional ones keep society running. And then there are the flashy ones that keep our roads